So my parents are in a circus and so am I, so I'm kind of like born into the fairground, everything.
Well, I grew up in Africa, so there was nothing like that there. And my family's half French, so there was nothing like that there. So I remember coming specifically to the Hoppings in Newcastle, and the first thing is the noise, and then probably the smells, and just hoping that you're going to get lots of treats.
My mum and dad didn't have a lot of money, so we never really went. So when I did go, I went with my friend, and we went on the Rip Tickler. And I was absolutely terrified. I thought I was going to let my shoe fell off, and I thought it was all going to get all chopped up and everything. So that was my first experience of the fair.
There was a Victorian fair in Worcester every year where I grew up, so I used to go to that.
So I think my favourite place to go is South Shields. I like Ocean Beach because it's always there. And you go in March and it's absolutely freezing and it's brilliant.
I grew up in Gosforth and the town mall was just very, very close. So I used to spend most of my time, when it was there, I spent every day there while I was still till I was about 16 or 17.
Well, obviously growing up in Newcastle there's the Hoppings, which is huge.
Yes, just go to the town moor when we were kids.
I've been going to the town moor in Newcastle since I was a little girl, and we went every year religiously.
The candy floss, I really, even now, and I'm 63, I still love candy floss, yeah.
We would always get some candy floss and some hot donuts.
The organ music being played, because having that sound, it brings all that nostalgia back.
I guess it's that smell of sugar from the candy floss machines, probably, or sweets, popcorn, something like that.
Popcorn and candy floss, definitely those two. Except they make everything sticky, which also reminds me of it as well.
Probably like the candy floss smell.
Or the candy floss. Always the candy floss.
The music was fab. The real fairground music, that was really good. And the candy floss.
Hot dogs and the smell of candy floss.
Kind of the smell of the food and the shrieks when people are up at big high things that I hate, and they just go, wow, and you think, oh my God, this is something terrible's happened, but it's actually people having a good time.
I used to take the kids when they were little and they liked Hook a Duck.
Yeah, I remember going on my first upside down ride. It was a very big deal when I was little.
Took the day off school, played truant with a friend of mine, and we were going to decided to go and collect ring pulls, of which, when we'd been at the fair the night before, we'd seen zillions lying all over the floors. And there was a caravan that had outside it baby lions, because during the day you were able to have your photograph taken you paid to have your photograph taken on a Polaroid with the lions. And the guy came out and went, oh, would you do me a favour? Would you feed the lions? So we sat there for hours and hours feeding the lions from bottles, these baby lion cubs who were exactly like huge big cats.
There was the big wheel and the merry-go-round, is it, with the horses? That candy floss as well.
Like the freak show, the one that you went in and they just had like jars of very odd things.
I was there when I was 4 years old, I think. I go with my grandparents. It was really fun. I was just amazed by all these things because they were so big for me.
It was always muddy. Always muddy, because it always rained that week.
When we were duck fishing, I won a teddy bear.
Won a goldfish, which grew to be a huge, huge beast. It was ended up being far too big.
One of those giant tigers, and I thought I was a king. It was like the size of me.
I got my first goldfish, Freddie. Had Freddie for ages, yeah. I think my parents probably replaced him when I wasn't looking, but we seemed to have him for a long time, yeah.
Definitely a goldfish in a bag.
We won fish, but they never made it home.
I actually used to love the swing chairs as well. I don't know what that's called.
It's a lot of fun. It's for people, I think, to go to a new world and have a time out from their lives and just enjoy themselves.
I like seeing all the different sorts of people that you get. It's kind of a good place to see everyone. It's a good place to people watch as well.
My favourite ride at a fairground is I think they're called gallopers. It's the horse carousel. I think the official, in the know name is gallopers. And I remember going on those when I was little, and I was big enough to sit on the actual gallopers. So that made me feel very important.
I like big rides, the thrilling rides, but also quite old-fashioned ones. We went to the ones that spin around really fast, so you stick to the wall. I really like that one.
Twister was always my favourite, still is. Never did any of the haunted things. And we didn't really do sideshows because they were quite expensive, I remember, just for throwing things. We never really did those. But we used to love the waltzer.
Oh, the waltzer. The waltzer, always, yeah. Loved it. And you could chat the lads up.
I like the shooting. Yes, shooting with friends and have a fun time.
The cake wall. It's like a platform that sort of shuffled around. You went up the steps and you walked along and it shuffled you and threw you all over the place. Yeah, I like that. And I like the mirrors.
Toffee apples and candy floss, of course.
So yeah, it'd be nice to see, the more vintage stuff, I suppose you could call it, the older stuff.
I think fortune telling needs to be done more. I think it's a really lovely tradition, and I think it often is a good way to spread a little bit of happiness and a little bit of hope. And more circus as well. I think that should be brought back into it. Less rides and a bit of theatre.
Those sort of steam-powered organs, I'd like to see that brought back because there is something sort of otherworldly and charming about it.
Probably just more people doing performances, actual physical showings.
The prizes seem a bit more tacky now, but maybe that's because I'm older and I'm aware of what it actually is that I used to get.
I like the old-fashioned stuff like the dodgems and the waltzer. You can never get away from them, but also the newer stuff as well.
They're not the same anymore. They're just not the same atmosphere, but I think they're good for families.
I think that there should always be fairgrounds. I think they're magical places. The anticipation of knowing it was coming weeks in advance, they're quite treasured memories now with my family.